I said this before. I truly believe this team is a deep team, and you give Leon Rose and his group a lot of credit for it. It's my job to keep trying to find combinations out on the floor that work, and just like they got a lot of room to grow, I got a lot of room to grow too, because I'm still learning them. And the neat part about it is there are a lot of different ways I can go with it, and I can learn on the fly because we have guys that can play. And I'd like to play a lot of guys. I don't know if I'll play 11 guys every night, but we'd like to play as many as we can, and we want everybody to be ready in case their number's called at any time.
That's Mike Brown, who of course has bounced around the NBA as a head coach, but one game under his belt in New York now, the first after the Tom Thibodeau era, and the Knicks had a nice comeback win at home, Madison Square Garden, against the Cleveland Cavaliers last night, 119-111. As Brown was talking about, played 11 guys. Now, Joe Mazzulla played 10, so we're not talking about a huge difference, obviously. And, really, like Trey Jamison III played 8 minutes. So he basically still ran 10 guys out there. But Jalen Brunson, former Clutch Player of the Year, 23, 19, Karl Anthony Towns, who was playing through a grade 2 quad strain. So that's, worth noting. OG Anunoby was awesome, 24 and 14, double-double for him. Mikal Bridges went for 16. It was a balanced offensive attack. Even got 15 off the bench out of Miles McBride. And so with the Celtics heading to New York now to take on this team tomorrow, what are the expectations?
What are the expectations?
You're about to hit me with the Travis Thomas pain.
I mean, it feels like that. It feels like we're headed towards that. I watched that team as I was getting ready to watch the Celtics play. I was watching the first half of that game, and, I was looking at this kid, Ariel Hawkporty, and I'm like, who is this dude? Why is he in the lineup? You know what I mean? What is he going to do tonight? And then he comes out, and he's playing against those two twin towers that the Cavaliers has, and he's getting blocks, and he's getting rebounds, he's running the floor hard, and I'm like, oh, man, we need a little bit of that here in Boston. This kid might be a little bit of a problem. I don't know if Mitchell Robinson's going to play. I have no idea what Cat's going to bring, if he's going to be healthy, is he going to be ready to go. I have no idea. But what I do know is that New York Knicks team plays fast. They play aggressive. They will block shots. They have energy. They're rejuvenated. They hate Boston.
Sure.
We're coming to their house.
Yeah, people are going to be ready to be bing-bonging in the streets, man.
It might be a game that might get a little out of hand. I'm just saying. I'm not predicting it or wanting it, but I'm looking ahead and I'm saying this could get ugly pretty fast for this Boston Celtics team, because this Knicks team is exactly who we thought they were. They're talented. They're well coached. They're re-driven, and they have the stars. Like you said, Jalen Brunson, former Clutch Player of the Year, probably a guy that I think you pegged as an All-NBA player, first-team All-NBA guy this year. They're going to come in with a lot of expectations. They're going to see a wounded Boston Celtics team, and they're going to be like a lion and try to attack that thing. So this could get ugly fast.
Yeah, I mean, I think my number one concern, and this is going to, how many times over the course of the season are we going to have this conversation? I mean, we've already had it multiple times going into the season. It's just anytime you're going against a team that has legitimate size, like obviously this New York team does, you're thinking about rim protection. You're thinking about rebounding. And yes, the Celtics did out-rebound the Sixers last night. It was by 2. The offensive glass, like you noted before, was even 10 apiece. But, man, I'm thinking about this New York team that was going against a Cleveland squad that has Jared Allen, that has Evan Mobley, and even still just abused them on the boards. It was 48-32 was the margin of victory on the glass. If it looked like that way against Cleveland, what's that going to look like against Boston?
Right. It was one of those things, too, I think the Knicks were also getting to the rim, getting fouled, making free throws, doing a lot of things. They also didn't shoot it that well against that Cavaliers team. And they found a way. Jalen Brunson made 1 3. He made his first one.
1 for 9.
He made his first one and then missed the next 8. And he decided, I'm just going to go ahead and get to the rim and make these bigs foul me. We just talked about that with the 76ers. They did that without a Jalen Brunson. Now, Edgecombe, Maxey, very good players. not on the caliber of drawing fouls as a Jalen Brunson is. So if he's going to be able to get to the line and get whatever he wants, OG Anunoby is going to be able to get downhill and get whatever he wants. This could be a problem for these bigs. We're going to be seeing Josh Minot playing the 5. We might even be seeing Jaylen Brown playing the 5 in this game. If they don't take care of the issues that they had on Wednesday night, Friday night in the Garden, with that roaring MSG sound, with the bing bong, all of that energy going on, I just can't predict anything but good things good things for the Celtics team. It's going to be ugly. It really could be.
Between what Maxey and Edgecombe did, and we talked about it, almost had 76 points by themselves against the 76ers. Went for 74, obviously, in that game. And these are not, Edgecombe's a rookie. I think he's going to be a star in this league, but he's a rookie. He played his first game. Maxey drops 40, which is not out of the realm of character. He did that often last year with either no Embiid, no George, or both out of the lineup. But even still, Tyrese Maxey is not that guy that you think about that's like, yeah, he's first, second team All-NBA. What are Brunson and just this backcourt in general, and any good backcourt, but we're focused on New York. What's this backcourt going to do against Boston's, guard defense, perimeter defense? There are just so many ways that you worry about the Celtics getting abused.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those things where the shooting is going to have to show up because defensively they just don't have it right now. They just don't. You know what I mean? I like Anthony. I feel like as the game came along, he started to make more plays defensively, gave effort the entire time, but started to figure out who he is in this Boston defensive system. But when you see those drives that you had when Edgecombe comes straight downhill from the free throw line and just booms on you 2 possessions after he got it, and then you see possession after possession. Okay. Oh, Josh Minot, you want to guard Maxey on the perimeter? Here's a tween, cross, step back, 3. And it's just net, bottom of the rim. And once again, like I said, that New York team did not shoot well. So the same things that Boston is thinking about themselves of how they have to shoot it better, how Derek White has to get involved earlier and score it better, how Peyton Pritchard has to score it better. The New York Knicks are thinking the same exact thing. And guess what? They have the talent and the depth to do so. So somebody's going to figure it out. They're not going to have a situation where Mikal goes 1 for 3, Cat goes 1 for 4, Brunson goes 1 for 9, Tyler Kolek even coming off the bench going 1 for 3. You're not going to see that every single night for them. So they have the off night. They're going to find a way to put it in the hole at this point. So the Boston Celtics have to match fire with fire. If they're not going to be able to get stops, which I am predicting that they probably will struggle a little to do, then they have to put the ball in the basket. Those threes got to drop tomorrow night.
Again, 26% not even, the Celtics against the Sixers. I don't worry about Peyton Pritchard regularly going 1 of 7. He's going to be better. And honestly, if we're going to sit here and talk about Missoula ball and talk about how we want them to play and all that, Anthony Simons went 2 of 6 from 3.
Right.
I want him to take 12.
Same thing with Hauser.
I want him to take more attempts. Yeah, Hauser went 2 of 6 as well.
Yeah.
Jalen went 2 of 4. He's capable. Derek White 4 of 13. That feels appropriate.
Right.
I want Simons and Hauser, guys that can make the 3. If that's how the Celtics are going to have to win games.
Yes.
By outscoring their opponents because maybe the defense isn't there. I want more.
Well, yeah, if you're going to not give us the 2 big lineup, and we're probably definitely not going to see it at this point with Luka Garza now being in concussion protocol.
Right.
You can't put Boucher out there in the starting lineup knowing that you need a backup big, you know what I mean, in the situation. So, if you're not going to give me that 2 big lineup and give me size and give me an ability to block shots and, do all of that stuff, then you have to give me, if I'm Hauser, I can't go 2 for 6. I gotta go 2 for 10. You know what I mean? If I'm missing them, you know what I mean? I gotta be aggressive because on most cases he will go 4 for 10 instead. The next 2 will go in instead of him just shying away I'm 2 for 6 and now I'm not gonna shoot it anymore. He'll probably make 3 for 7 and then go 3 for 8 and then make 4 for 9 and then miss that's probably how it's going to go out for him. So they have to be aggressive shooting, which is the Joe Mazzulla way. I think he's just trying to figure out how good of a shooting team this team really is.
43 attempts from 3, oftentimes going to be north of 50, so get ready for that. But Jaylen Brown, I've listened to the radio driving in. There are already people on Jaylen for this is why he's not a 1. He's got to have the ball in his hands at the end of the game. It can't be Peyton Pritchard taking 2 shots at the end and all that stuff. He's not working hard enough to get to the ball, yada, yada, yada. Jalen had a good night.
He did.
He went 9 of 18, 2 of 4 from 3, 5 of 6 from the free throw line, so he got to the stripe, 25 points, tied with Derek White for the lead, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Honestly, I think there were more playmaking opportunities than even just the 4 assists would reflect.
Right.
I was pretty happy with Jalen Brown's game, but does it need to look any different against the Knicks?
I would say no. I think it's timely buckets. I think it's one of those things where a lot of people were getting a lot of good looks. They just weren't making them for the Boston Celtics. And even, people will talk about the Peyton Pritchard at the end of the game and Jalen Brown not getting the ball. What about the fact that Xavier Tillman got an offensive rebound when they were down 2 late in that game, and he gets it and he just has absolutely no legs and shoots a 4-foot floater off the front of the rim.
Awful.
You know what I mean? Like, they had opportunities as a team. This is a team sport to go and win that game, right? And they just didn't make them. So, yes, Jalen Brown could have done a play or two here. Everyone could have done a play or two here. But I don't need him to go out there and slow down the game and make it stagnant, because the Boston Celtics, at least the Boston Celtics that we have in this iteration of the game, need to be a team where guys are attacking in and night out. What we talked about throughout the preseason about how great this Boston Celtics was when they were playing was, oh my gosh, Josh Minot gave you 10 points. You know what I mean? Oh my God, Chris Boucher made 2 threes. Those are the things that the Boston Celtics were missing last night.
Sure.
We talk about the stars, Anthony Simons. Yeah, we talk about, Kata obviously having a good game. We talk about how, Peyton Pritchard, I got Porzingis on my mind.
He hit some threes last night for Atlanta. Looked good.
Hopefully.
We even found out what the mystery illness was.
Right. But Peyton Pritchard, you know what I mean? We know those things have to happen. But yes, the middle guys, the Luka Garza obviously being out, the Josh Minot not really having that great of an offensive game or having impact on the offensive end, those are the guys who have to make the extra play too. If you have 2, 3, 4 of those, the Boston Celtics win this going away.
You said Tillman didn't have the legs at the end. Why not?
I think this team isn't used to playing those kind of minutes anymore.
He only played 16 minutes.
But when's the last time that Tillman did play 16 minutes in a real NBA game? You know what I mean? Adrenaline is different. You know it. You know what I'm saying? You played sports before. You played.
Not at a high level.
But you played when you're playing outside with your buddies or whatever.
Sure.
It's a lot different than when that crowd is really there and it's thumping and it means something, right? So it's the same thing for these guys. Playing that preseason game, the adrenaline doesn't get pumping. But then when Paul Pierce is sitting courtside, that's when the adrenaline changes. So you run out of energy early.
I'm looking
late in
it
that
up.
game.
When do you think the last time, non-preseason obviously, Xavier Tillman played 16 minutes in a game? Now that you've said this.
It was probably during that 24 season when he was with the Celtics, when he first got to the Celtics. It was probably right at the beginning when he first came to the Celtics, or it was when he was at the end with Memphis.
It was almost 1 year ago to the day. He played 18 minutes, scored 3 points in a game against the Pistons, 124-118, October 26th of last year.
Yeah, in Detroit?
In Detroit.
I remember that game. Yeah.
In fact, there was a stretch of 4 games, this is what's kind of goofy, where he played this from start of the year, first game, 18 minutes, 15, 18, 15. And at that point, he basically played 8 the rest of the year.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you're asking guys to do a lot more, and it's going to take time for them to get used to that increased role. I'm not saying it's just it takes time to get used to what you are and what you're doing with this team, right?
Yeah.
When he was playing that game, he wasn't asked to be this incredible defender like he was guarding Embiid. He wasn't asked to get all these rebounds. He was just asking to come in and fill minutes, probably. You know what I mean? Because you had a JT, you had a JB, you had all these other guys that actually had to carry weight. Now he's asked to carry weight. It's a lot different to play 16 minutes of that versus 18 minutes of, hey, if you get a shot, knock it down. You know what I'm saying?
So at New York, at Detroit, at New Orleans. Those 3 games are all happening before we are back with everyone here on Hold My Banner. Then Boston will be back home against Cleveland, so that should be easy. What are your expectations after 4 games? What's the record? 0-1. So you got 3 games in front of you, all on the road, all against teams that could be playoff teams. We'll see how big a jump, how healthy New Orleans can be, how Detroit hangs around in the middle of the Eastern Conference, kind of like Boston. Detroit and Boston, similar level. What are you expecting here from this trip?
I'm expecting 0-2 after Friday.
Okay.
And they're splitting. They're getting one of those 2 between New Orleans and Detroit. I want to say it's Monday. But after watching Detroit play the Chicago Bulls last night, I was left with a little left to be desired. Let's just say that.
No, I'm with you. I think it's a 1-2 trip. I mean, obviously I'll move the goalpost maybe if Boston shocks us and beats New York.
That'd be great.
I don't see that happening either.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping they don't get humiliated.
Can I get a score prediction real quick for New York? Just that game?
I want it.
We were just off.
I wonder if
I was looking at that. You know how I said 112, 107? We were at like 111, 107 with like a minute 40 left.
I just want to look to see because I know we got a break, but is the line out? Knicks are 6-point favorites.
Okay.
A total of 227.5.
Vegas is nicer than we are.
And by the way, shout out Travis who nailed the over on the first game.
Right,
I thought that was going to be lower scoring, but he nailed that one. Knicks 6-point favorites. I think I'd play it with New York.
Okay.
Yeah, I would. I think this is a game. I don't know about double figures, but I think this New York wins this game probably by 8-9 points.
That's what I was thinking. You know, I say out of hand, but I think it gets to 15 and then it comes back down to earth a little bit. So I won't give you the exact score, but
sure.
I'm with you on that.